All right, hello everyone, and welcome to Theorycrafting Thursday. We, of course, are everybody's favorite rollerblading podcast. We are excited to talk today about our big hobby of inline skating. We may get into vert or freestyle skating, I suppose. Maybe even other kinds.
I've been mostly freestyling these days, although I'll say I did carve up a bowl in a most gnarly fashion this past weekend.
Yeah, I was playing roller soccer with some of my wicked dudes, and it was a good time. So I'm a big fan of the inline skating. This is my
any tricks? Any tricks you've been working on recently?
Nope. I've never done a trick. I don't think.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's impossible to do tricks. I'm just saying.
Well, I was just saying. I recently mastered the soul grind into a quick Mizzou on the edge of the bowl that I was carving. And I've been pretty good at switching that straight into an acid grind. So I've been doing pretty good myself as a 5K MMR rollerblader.
Yeah, I'm working on the climb still. My rollerblading skill are still like pretty low fours, but we'll get there eventually. And that's why we
go down ramps now, right? Because I recently saw you go down a ramp, and I was like, "That's my little boy."
It was terrifying. I my hand was held the whole time. But yeah. On that note, before we get into our extensive discussion on rollerblading, we are going to instead talk about Dota 2, a hobby that we also.
Did you ever watch Brink, the Disney Channel original movie?
I played Brink, the video game.
What the fuck?
That was a good video game.
I don't know what that is. Anyway, Brinker, Disney Channel original movie, man. My inspiration in life.
I thought you were going to bring up the one in Hawaii with the woogity.
No. Oh no, that's Rocket Power.
Rocket Power, yeah. Okay. But they skateboarded anyway. They weren't rollerbladers.
They did everything. They were radical dudes.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I feel like I shouldn't make fun of rollerblading, but at the same time, I really want to. So on that note, we're just going to avoid it entirely and go into Dota talk. Shall we? Of course, your lovely hosts are me. I'm Ursinity, and Proud. He is proud. Yes. Good. Perfect. And let's just start off. How was your week in Dota?
It's been pretty good. I've been made a oh shit, I'm still on my other account. I made a resolution to try to make LD good again. And I've been doing it.
Very topical.
I've been doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I've played with your newly non-radiant. Yeah. Your very dull non-radiant LD has been impressing me. We've won a bunch of games with it.
Yep, I don't go Radiance anymore. Reclaimed my Radiance Truther situation. Say fuck the Radiance. We go Deso like God intended. I just like Deso. It's just the best item in the game.
Yeah, I think we all have that item that's special, close to our heart. Deso's up there. For me, it's Armlet or E-Blade, one of the two. Probably Armlet. But yeah, I'm all about it. So is that it, really? Have you just been playing LD?
I don't know. I'm not on my account right now, so I can't actually see. So give me a sec here. You fucking.
I just pull up Dota buff.
Wait, yeah, that's what I'm doing now. That's why I need it. You just fuck.
Well,
yeah, mostly that. I've been playing some Morphling. Morphling's super fun. I've been playing a little bit of OD again, just to be playing OD. Our team matches have been going very well. My Jug has been cool. I've gone. Oh yeah, I was trying out this new Jug build that I'm 2-1 on now. I don't think it's good, but I'm trying to make it work. It's
You're trying to convince yourself it is.
I'm trying to change it up and find new ways to go it. So it's let me see. I go phase boots, and then sometimes I go Vanguard, sometimes I go Vlad's, depending on how hard the team is snowballing. It's a very fighty, very kill oriented build. It's okay. The build is very defensive with the first item Vanguard, and you can go the Vanguard with this build. But the central idea behind it is Deso and Echo Saber. So I go the ideal if I don't have to get the Vanguard early is I'll go phase boots and then a wand and a what's that item and a
raindrop
in a raindrop. Yeah, and that'll take care of my magic. And then from there, I might go, if I'm like farming a lot, I'll go Ring of Health maybe. But for the most part, I just go straight into Deso. And then after that, I just get an Echo Saber. And then a Blink after that. So I just like Blink on kids and I Deso Echo Saber them double hit and they just fucking die immediately. And it's so good.
Yeah, I heard.
You always get a crit.
Yeah, I heard like, I don't know, maybe like a few weeks ago, people were talking about how some like high MR players were doing like Echo Saber builds on Jug, and I was a little like, whatever. But it sounds pretty legit. I haven't personally seen it because I think in one of our practice games, I played Jug for team practice when you were playing.
Oh my god, I wanted to personally talk to you about that.
Yeah. It was terrible. I was a mess.
How to play Jug? You have no idea. You went my build, but you didn't even skill stats like once. And I was watching the stream. You're like, damn, I don't have enough mana for this. I was like, yeah, your mana pool is enough for your ulti, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like skill stats, you fuck ass. Like you skipped Aki and still didn't go stats.
Yeah, I honestly like it's one of those things where like midway through the game I realized that, and I was like, oh god, I didn't go stats. But
yeah,
it was funny because I actually played a bunch of Jug games on my like climb to 5K, and
I know that's why I was like, he should be able to handle this.
Well, yeah, but like I normally do stats, but then I was just like putting stats in arbitrarily. It'd be like, all right, I'm maxing my spin, of course, but then like I would just have like 1 point in my other things, and I just like arbitrarily be like, yeah, stats feel fine now, and I just like skill a point in stats.
I mean, it's not that bad.
I mean, it worked out. But it's kind of like cooking, where like you could be exactly be like, all right, I'm doing X, Y, and Z now, or it's like just throw a pinch in.
Yeah, I would say like kind of rule of thumb, you want at least 1 point in stats for every point of ulti you have.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, so in my defense, I don't normally play Jug like that. I just like was an idiot that game. So my Jug is normally better.
I actually wrote down on one of my little notepads on my computer, I have right here, tell Sam to go stats on Jug and always get Aki.
Yeah. I don't know what possessed me to not buy Aki. I've been doing stuff since I've been playing a lot of Invoker, and I really do like the Aki Drums Midas build, not necessarily in that order, but you have those three as your like core items by like 15 minutes ish. But I've been trying to like work around not building Aki and going like null. If I'm in games where like I have another Aki builder like you on my team. And I think that carried over to my Jug play for some reason, because I was in that mindset, and I was like, oh, well, you're playing LD, so you're naturally going to have the null.
The Bassi, yeah.
Yeah, or the Bassi. And maybe that was it. I honestly don't know. It was just like I was playing like garbage, but it worked out.
You're just not a good player. But
I mean, that's possible.
The idea with the Echo Saber is like it gives you enough intelligence that, because like the main thing, like when I really like my build for Jug, and like one of the main aspects of it is that you get diffusal right at the timing where you need that int bonus.
Yeah.
Like the int from the diffusal is actually a huge reason that you do get the diffusal. And especially now that like your healing word is going to cost 140 mana at all times.
Yeah. I definitely felt that. I'll say that much.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, you need that int like immediately, especially if you don't have any fucking stats. But if you're against like a PA or something, where the ideal thing would be, I swap out my diffusal for like an MKB here, or a lot of times if I'm against Alchemist, I'll swap out the diffusal for a Desolator. But the Echo Saber, like if you want to actually like you want to take advantage of the full efficiency of your items, especially when you're trying a weird build like Echo Saber Desolator or something like if you're going to do something like that, you need to make sure you get efficiency out of that. So like the Echo Saber, one of the main aspects of it is it takes care of your mana issues. So I'm like, all right, let's cut out Aquila because we don't need the mana regen from the Aquila, and let's cut out Diffusal because we don't need the int from the Diffusal.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is things.
That makes sense. So I actually just pulled up the game, and while I realize that my thinking is flawed, I'm going to explain my rationale for skipping Aki and just going like phase
I'm going to go
Vanguard.
while you do that real quick.
Okay, please do. So my thinking was that they had a Tiny that got a pretty fast blink, and they also had a bunch of heroes that they had a Bane and a Mirana, and they would just and a Faceless, so they would keep me stunned, and I felt like I just needed that raw HP from the Vanguard. Especially against the Tiny that would like just blink and stun, and he had a Shadow Blade at 17 minutes too. So that was my thinking. I was like, all right, I'm gonna be getting ganked, and if I build Aki, that's gonna delay my Vanguard by whatever it is, 875 gold or 1,000 gold. What am I talking about? It's like 1,050, right? And so that was my thinking.
Yep.
Because having that like raw stats, like I got my Vanguard at 9 minutes, and Tiny got his blink at 11, right? So he couldn't just blink and like kill me. Which, granted, if I had gone stats instead of like an extra point in healing ward or whatever, then that also would have helped. But that was my thinking at the very least.
Yeah, I mean,
so that's that.
Like, I definitely do like the idea of cutting Aquilo out, but it's just when you do something like that, you need to understand like what you're giving up for it. And a big thing with the Aquila is like it's not just the damage or the aura for Juggernaut. It's like every little bit of your stats counts. Like Juggernaut, I think is the only hero I can really think of that's like very meta that actually has 3 good skills where you actually do value scaling +2 stats more than your very very strong skills sometimes.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, so anything else in your week before we hop to mine?
Nah, just Deso LD, man. Deso is such a good item. Playing OD a little bit. New jug build's very fun. I'm just bored of everything right now, so I'm just trying to find new ways to play things. Like, I don't think the jug build is good. I'm just very bored of my build on Juggernaut, which is why I was building Battle Fury, and I hate Battle Fury, so now I'm trying my Deso shit.
Yeah, it's interesting because all the like pro meta changes and some of the meta changes are like they affect other people on our team and like other things, but you and I both don't play the heroes that are suddenly growing and or losing popularity. So like I feel you. Although obviously I switched roles, which like adds some spice to my life, but it's still like I'm still playing similar heroes.
And like the things that are changing from my perspective are just like, the things that just got nerfed. So the last meta that we moved away from is just coming back. Like spoilers, Lifestealer.
Yes. And okay, so my week in Dota, we talked about it yesterday, so I won't on the Wednesday show, so I won't go super deep into it, but I have switched to mid, and so that's why we're going to be playing mid in our combo this week, compared to the usual support and a carrier offlane or whatever. But so I've been having a lot of fun with that. I've been playing a lot of games. I'm on an 8-game winning streak right now, actually, and I'm feeling good. I'm feeling comfortable. I used to be a mid player. But it was a long time ago. Like, it was when I was notably worse. Like, trying to think back now, I wish I'd like actually dug it up, but I'm pretty sure last time I was like officially in my mind a mid player was probably right when I was like breaking 4K or like right around that. Like, it's been
I want to say when you were like 4.2K, you were like mostly mid.
Yeah, that's true. Well, yeah, because I stayed around 4.2 for a long time. Because when you and all the listeners know me, like I until recently I didn't really play ranked. But so it's been a long time. Like, it's been at least a year, I would say, since I was like actually focusing on being a mid player. And so I've been playing a lot of my like core, poor choice of words, a lot of my comfort mids like Invoker and Alina, and adapting back into this. So it's been fun. It's going to take some more adjusting, but I'm feeling good so far. And that's the goal, right? If you're switching into a new role, if you're like feeling really like uncomfortable or bad at like for the first like week or two, that's like a bad sign. So I'm glad things are going well so far. I've been trying a lot of new Lina builds. We played Lina for the show a couple of weeks ago or like a month ago. And I mean, obviously she's like one of my favorite heroes and I love it, but I was getting a little bored of the tried and true 6.88 Lina build, which as tried and true as any hero that isn't really picked often can be. But now I've been trying a more like right-clicky build where instead of doing the bottle, mana boots, Yules, Aether Lens, Ags, BOTs, like that kind of build, or Bloodstone and then BOTs, I've been now doing a build that is bottle, phase boots, drums, Yules, Shadowblade, Ags, Bloodstone. And it's nice, it's fun, but it's
so you get the phase boots for damage and drums like gets you a decent amount of int and like attack speed and move speed and that sort of thing, and then you get the Yules just because like it's so core that it's worth buffing your spells with the Yules anyways, and then you go back into like the Shadowblade, which is mobility plus helps you right click and shit. That makes sense.
Yeah, and some games I'll skip the Shadowblade, but it's really nice just because it, like you said, it gives you a lot of damage and all that, and it gives you a lot of lane presence with phase boots, and like if you have good rune management and you can keep your mana up. But the really cool thing about it is like you're always at 522 move speed, pretty much. Like if you have I think you only need 2 stacks of Fiery Soul, and you're just at 522. Not even with the Shadowblade factoring in. Like when you have Yules and drums, I've actually been doing. Every once in a while, I'd go Yules on Invoker again, just because, it's good, but I'm not a big fan of the item ever since like I became competent, and but it is nice to just have 522 move speed on Lena like all the time, and it makes hitting her stun way easier. So it's fun. Honestly, I still really like just the basic, simple build where it's just, mana boots, buy Yules, disassemble for Aether, rebuy mana boots, build something else, then build a Bloodstone, or you could just go right into Bloodstone and then you build your BOTs, and that build's pretty sick. I'm not gonna lie, but it's nice trying new things. That's what I'll say, especially in a patch that's lasted like for 800 years.
Yeah, I think it's been about that long.
Yeah, it sounds about right. So
Tiny sucks now, and I hate it.
Yeah, we definitely felt that playing against Tiny, and it was just kind of like, okay, he bursts you at 11 minutes or whatever when he ends his blink, but then after that, it's like, okay, who cares? Like, what are you doing, buddy?
He comboed Fleb on a position like 5 Warlock, and Fleb was like, it's fine.
Yeah, I'm going to walk away.
It should not be fine, but it was.
Yeah, jaw feel. It definitely, all these heroes, I don't know. There are a lot of commonalities between the excuse me, that are not played. Like we see Bristlebacks and Tiny, and like Silver Edge is just so good against those heroes with passives, and you can build it on so many heroes now. Like actually, so elimination mode started as the day we're recording, Tuesday. It started, and you know what I saw? I think it was Arteezy playing Sven. You know what item he bought? The Silver Edge.
Silver Edge.
Yeah. Yep. And it was
I'm saying it. Silver Edge is such a good item for non-Silver Edge heroes.
Yeah, he just went like Treads, HOD, Echo Saber, Blink, Silver Edge, and he was just like moving around the map, just killing people. It was wild. But
yeah, dude, it's good. It's like a great way to deal with like the way that people like most heroes have gained. Like it's just really hard to burst heroes in general, and a lot of the way that people are dealing with that is that they build like a Shadow Blade, because that gives you that like initial burst to actually be able to take down people very easily. Like same thing with like your Lena going. Shadow Blade is you probably need the backstab damage to actually finish people off now, as opposed to before you could just spell combo.
Yeah, it depends. The nice thing about Lena, and it's like this with some other heroes and some other things, but with the Shadow Blade, you can cast LSA, and you're invisible for the entire like cast animation that's very long. Yeah, so that's like the idea behind it, is like it's a setup. So most of the time, I don't even get the hit off if it's like somebody that has an escape or is fast moving. I just like go up to them, and that's how I set up my stun. And then you have a defensive Yules or an aggressive Yules, I suppose, to continue the fight. It's kind of like the LC thing, where like if you have a Shadow Blade active on LC and you duel somebody, it does the full duel thing while you're invisible, and it gives you that first hit damage.
So like against like an Ember Spirit, if you have maybe playing Ember Spirit, and then maybe you can just like get out of there fucking immediately as soon as you go in. But like with the Shadow Blade, there's no way for our good mid Ember Spirit player maybe to react to you if you have this Shadow Blade.
Yeah, man, I love mid Ember Spirit. I'm so excited to just try all my mids again. It's exciting.
Yeah, I think I'd probably play Ember Spirit. Your Ember Spirit's pretty bad.
Dude, my Ember Spirit's way better than yours. All right.
Are you serious? I actually have never seen your Ember Spirit in my life. I just know I'm like,
my Ember Spirit's quite
bad at
good.
it, and now I'm competent.
Yeah.
Good? All right.
Maybe I haven't seen yours in a while, but I'm very confident in my Ember Spirit. I'll say that.
Okay. Yeah. No, I was really bad at Ember Spirit for a while, but then I like practiced it a decent amount recently, and like I win with it in solo ranked and shit.
Yeah, he's a hero that is like deceptively easy. I mean, it's deceptively difficult. Like you see him, and you're like, okay, all you gotta do is like be fast and remnant out and be safe. But it's very easy to like make one mistake and then just be screwed.
Yeah, you have to be consistent.
Yeah, and you have to. The big thing that I always see in like the difference between Ember Spirit players and Ember Spirit, like people that have just picked Ember Spirit, are their ability to assess situations relative to your move speed and remnant. So if you're not like a real Ember Spirit player, a lot of times they'll get the thing where they're slowed and they throw their remnant out anyways, and then their remnant's moving at like 16 move speed, and then they can't get out. And that's like one of the big differences. But so
remnant usage, big deal.
Yep, I'm excited to get into it. So on that note, let's talk about our segment this week. I thought we had already done our segment because we were like already at 20 minutes. All right, okay. So for our segment, which is going to tie into our combo, we are talking about balancing farm between multiple cores. And this is something that on one level is pretty simple, but on another level, it really impacts like not only how the game goes, but like at the pick a screen. So I think just to use the most obvious example, if you're picking Alchemist mid, you wouldn't pick Naga safe lane. Right? Like that, you have two really greedy heroes.
Radiance.
Yeah, well, that too. But like they both consume a ton of things off the map, right? So you can't balance those two heroes.
Reason, not. I mean, the Radiance thing is true, but also like you wouldn't pick Alchemist and Anti-Mage. I think might be a better comparison. It's like they both want to absorb farm at the same point in the game from the same sources.
Exactly. And another good example of this is, I think we've talked about this on the show recently, but when you're picking offlaners especially, this is not just a one role and two role thing. When you're picking offlaners, you have your greedier offlaners that are going to take a lot off the map, and then you have your offlaners that are like just going to have like boots and like one item and be getting kills and all that. So like Axe is an offlaner that is going to consume more of the map naturally, and he's going to pick off a lot of kills and stuff. Whereas if you have an offlaner like Clockwork, it's like, okay, well, he doesn't really have any good farm mechanic other than like Rocket pushing out lanes, and he's just gonna like have boots and like a force staff or boots and a blade mail and go around killing people. Or he might rush Ags, which is what Skrunk does, which is bizarre, but it works for him, so whatever.
What, on Clockwork?
Yeah, on Clockwork. He goes like Tranquil's Ags.
Ags is so fucking good.
I've never lost when he's done it, but it's just something that's bizarre to me because the mana management on Clockwork is like, I don't even know.
Gives you mana.
It does give you mana, but I mean, in a regen aspect, it's like, I like having a bottle or a soul ring on him usually.
Just die, and then you get all your mana back.
You're not wrong.
Like, hook in, die, and you just like hook, you miss it, hook again, you miss it, hook again, then die, and then you're fine.
Yeah, or like tell one of your teammates to build a bloodstone, and they'd be like, oh, I need mana, and then have them suicide. That's one way
that works too. Like, why not?
Okay, so yeah, I mean, our combo this week, so to use that as an example of how to balance farm, we are going to be playing Tinker with Lifestealer, aka Nakes, depending on...
AKA Nyx.
Nyx? Nobody calls him Nyx.
Yeah, a lot of people are fucking stupid.
Who calls him Nyx?
I want to say 30% of the casting population says Nyx. It's like all NA Dota says like Nyx and Riki and shit like that.
Riki. I think Winter says Riki. But
yeah, no, but like fucking, I think like Zyori says it. I know there's another English
Flub probably says, like, Riki. It. Flub says everything.
He does. He does say Riki.
He actually, now that we say that, it like that was supposed to be a joke because he says a lot of things differently, and yeah. Anyway,
dude, like Artosis from StarCraft, he like said everything weird. Like he'd call Zealots. I don't even remember. He didn't say like the main issue is no, not even that. Like that's the main way people fuck it up. But he just did it like fucking 110 degrees the opposite direction. He was like Zealots. Yeah, something. Yeah, I was like Zealots or something like that. It's just like I don't know, dude.
Yeah, it's hard, especially with a game like Dota where
Zealots? I think it was Zealots.
Yeah, Zealots. Yeah. Especially with a game like Dota, there's I don't know, like, I mean, I should have brainstormed beforehand, but there's like maybe a half dozen heroes that are called two different names by like 50% of the population. So Nakes is a great example where, a lot of people call him Nakes if they're from Dota 1 or if they hang out with people that call him Nakes or if they've learned from people like that. Other people call him Lifestealer because that's his name in the game. And then like Spirit Breaker, sometimes he's called Spirit Breaker or SB, and then other times he's called Barra or like Undying. Some people say
Dirt.
You're
really into Barras.
Yeah.
Barra Throne.
Yeah, but it's a whole thing. Anyway, that's a tangent. So we're going to be talking about whatever you want to call them.
If anyone ever calls Bounty Hunter Gondar, like I immediately know where they're from geographically.
Yeah, or if people call Nature's Prophet Fur or Furion, that's like that's when you know.
That's not. But like, if anyone ever calls him Gondar, like that's immediately like that is I've never heard anyone in North America say like Gondar or like explicitly be like, yes, Gondar. I don't know what it is. I don't know what about the language makes it, but like Spanish-speaking countries, it's almost always Gondar.
Yeah, that's a good question. I wonder why it's like that. But yeah, I definitely I know enough.
You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure that's a trend that I've noticed.
I mean, I've heard Gondor plenty of times. But yeah, that is one that is like less common, but it still happens. Anyway, so these two heroes, right? So we have Tinker, who is a very, very greedy mid, and he is greedy a very specific way, where he is going to be obviously TPing from lane to lane and taking farm off the map and pushing out lanes. And in the early game, he's going to be taking stacks that he makes in the jungle. But in the so when you want to balance farm with him, right? You're not going to pick, like, using AM as the example from earlier. You're not going to pick AM with Tinker, right? Because you have two super greedy heroes that take a little while to get online and fight, and they are going to naturally be stepping on each other's toes, I suppose is the way to put it.
Right. Well, I feel like the good place to start is saying, like, what's unique about this hero's ability to farm. And if you take Tinker, like, what makes Tinker better than like a CM with no spells in terms of farming. Like, can't kill individual units any faster than, like a CM with no skills, but he can take out like mass amounts of creeps very quickly. So like, taking a single set of jungle creeps, like, he's not going to kill an Ursa Smasher very fast. Like, the tomato's not going to die quickly, but like 6 tomatoes are going to die like pretty fast with the Tinker. And then like, so if the jungle isn't stacked, he's not particularly effective. But he can take out like mass amounts of things pretty easily. So that's like lane farm and then stacks. Stacks will dissipate, but lane farm is forever. And then also he can get anywhere on the map pretty safely, so he can farm very deeply. He can farm like lanes very deeply. Like, that's the main thing about him.
Yeah, unless they have Tinker wards, which I
you can still do it. It's just they'll die.
It's just harder. I have not flamed anybody in a pub in a long time. Like, I've been pretty good about my behavior, and maybe it's because I've been winning. But I was in a pub, I was playing solo queue, and I told this guy, like, hey, place a Tinker ward, and he just didn't get it. And I was like, I was pinging the spot, and he like walked to a completely different spot. He's like, I don't get it. And like, we lost entire fights. They didn't even have a Tinker. It was like, God, I forgot what hero they had that was blinking into the trees. Actually, no, it was a Tinker, right? Because he had the Ags and he was doing the rocket crap. But
sure,
it's just one of those things where like Tinker wards are so useful against a variety of heroes, not even just Tinker specifically. But yeah, so that's a little tangential. But if you're playing against a Tinker, put Tinker wards down. Just look at the sides of the map. There's little spires, and they used to be like secret spots, but now like Valve was like, hey, people know about these already, so let's make it easy. And they like have entire areas blocked off. Okay, so getting back to that. So we already discussed how Tinker farms. What is the difference, and why does Nakes complement a Tinker in terms of balancing farm between cores?
Okay, so we said the main thing about Tinker is that he can farm, massively with like AoE and refreshing his March of the Machines. And then you take Lifestealer, and Lifestealer has no innate AoE abilities, but he does have a lot of like high single target damage output. I mean, he has, Feast, and not Feast. What's his ulti called?
Good.
Eat him. He has Eat him. And what is that called? Infest. He has Infest. Yes. So he can Infest bomb. Like, if you can like look a 3-stack and then Infest bomb it. Just to do like, the 300 or 150, 275, 400 damage, which is pretty substantial. Like, you can do some AoE damage, but it's on like a long cooldown. It's not great. So like, really, you do farm individual camps very quickly, and you can kill lanes. But in general, you're not going to want to be too far out as a Nyx, because you do have an escape, but it's not like an anti-mage escape where you just blink away and you're good. It's like you have rage, and that should last you long enough for your team to back you up. But if you're someone like Tinker, who's farming, right next to their, right by their tier 2 and then blinking into trees, like, your team is never going to save Tinker. Your team's not going to back Tinker up. So Tinker isn't going to be farming, or Tinker will be farming way deeper than a Lifestealer is. So it's not like a Lifestealer, is going to be somewhere super deep, and then Tinker is going to utilize his unique properties to steal farm from the Lifestealer. Like, that's never going to happen. It's going to be Tinker just farming what's close to him, Lifestealer just farming what's close to him, and taking, individual camps in the jungle, not necessarily stacks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
So yeah, and I mean they both need farm pretty badly, but they farm in like completely different ways. Also, Lifestealer kills ancients, and Tinker wants nothing to do with ancients anymore, which is a really big thing. Like you both of your core, if you have two farm intensive cores, one of them needs to be able to take ancients because that's a shit ton of gold that you're just giving away if you're not doing that.
yeah, rest in peace the days of OP Tinker where he could farm ancients. Those were the
Yeah,
days. That's when I really
and
played.
stack them from lane on Radiant Tinker. Like holy shit.
Yeah, it was some. Anyway, so that's basically the idea, right? When we get back to balancing farm, it's that we're both going to be able to get our items because we both farm in opposite ways, right? And so the other big thing that I think about with this core duo is that we do different types of damage when it comes to like actual fighting time, right? Like I do a mix of pure and magical, and you do physical
Yeah.
and a little bit of magical, but primarily physical.
Yeah,
And
moreover, your damage is countered by BKB. My damage is absolutely not.
yeah, exactly. Even better. And the other big thing that that I think about is that our power, our like ability to fight comes on at different points in the game, right? So Tinker nowadays the build is obviously you do bottle, BOTs, Soul Ring, and then usually Blink, Aether Lens, Aghanim's. Compared to the old build where you went like Blink, Dagon, E-Blade. And Bloodstone too is quite good, but I generally don't build it early because
I love Bloodstone Tinker, man.
oh, it's good. It's kind of like I know this is probably bad for my play overall, but I get way too comfortable with my like hotkeys for Soul Ring, Bottle, and TP boots. So it's like I have it about on my mouse. I have it on 4, 5, and spacebar. Spacebar is boots, then 4, 5 for Soul Ring, Bottle in that order. And once I like get rid of my Soul Ring and I replace it with a Bloodstone or a Scythe or whatever,
Oh, you're just dead.
it just it's not even that I'm suiciding. It's just that like I constantly like it's one extra thing to think about, and it really messes me up. So
Dude, that's if I ever replace my treads with boots of travel, I immediately TP home.
Yeah.
Like as soon as I try to tread switch, I'm like, God fucking damn it.
yeah, I've been known
That's
to
why
yeah.
put your treads in your TP slot because you're not have a TP anymore. Put your travels in your TP slot, not your tread slot.
Yep, I know. I have been known to rebuy a Soul Ring after building my Bloodstone just for the comfort of it. Nowadays, it doesn't work with the current builds, but
yeah.
I used to do like back when it was Dagon, like Dagon builds were better. So I would have like Dagon and then finish a Bloodstone, and then I would have the room to just like have a Soul Ring. So I'd have a Bloodstone and a Soul Ring. Anyway, that's Tinker. Do we have any more discussion on like how each hero farms in relative to one another?
Yeah, I could like throw up a couple more examples. Like if you take let's say Axe or I think Timbersaw is probably a pretty good one. So like Timbersaw doesn't really jungle that well. I mean he can, but he doesn't like jungle. Timbersaw mostly farms lanes and heroes. So if you want to pair something with Timbersaw, you probably want a mid that isn't really going to farm either because you could really only have 2 cores take up like lane farm and like maybe one hero that focuses on like jungle farm or whatever. So like Sven Timbersaw isn't too bad because Sven can just like eat through the jungle while your Timbersaw does the lanes. And then you want to pair that up with someone who's not like quite as super farm intensive, like or someone that can farm anywhere and isn't going to be super specialized, like an Invoker or something like that. Marana's probably actually really shit with Timbersaw because they both farm almost the exact same thing. Like Marana, Timbersaw, Sven, they're just going to be tripping over their farm the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like I don't know, so some other kind of mid. I'm trying to think like what mid would you pair with Timbersaw Sven?
Batrider.
Batriders, yeah, that's good.
Like a flub mid.
Kunkka would be good.
I mean, Kunkka would be okay, but then you have 3 strength cores that are all melee as your
Timbersaw. Like Timbersaw's already out of the game. You're fine.
What do you mean?
I mean, like normally we're like, oh no, we have 3 strength cores. What if they pick Timbersaw?
Oh, well, that's true, but like, what if they have a Magnus or like anything to abuse the fact that you're only close? Dude, Magnus is legit, all right?
And Kunkka isn't like that melee.
That's true. And also Timbersaw isn't that melee either. I don't know. I'm always a little
I mean, as far as the farming goes, I mean, I feel like Kunkka as far as the farming goes, Kunkka would be fine.
He's fine.
Not Alchemist.
Definitely not alchemist. So I think we can agree on that one for sure. I'm still a little conflicted when it comes to Kunkka mid because I've played many games of it, but it's just so it's very feast or famine. Like you're either having a good game and you like win your lane because you get a gank, or you win your lane just because you kill the enemy, and then you have to parlay that into success. Whereas if you are playing from behind, like Kunkka is just like irrelevant. It's like, oh, okay, well, you can do your boat combo, whatever, but who cares because you're not like, it's 20 minutes and all you have is phase boots, bottle, and an armlet. Like,
Yeah, if your Tidebringer ever really like falls off, your damage is just, it's like Kunkka really depends on the Tidebringer to keep his damage relevant, and if your damage isn't relevant, he's just a brief stun.
Yeah, that's always my concern. Also, like he doesn't do even when he's really ahead, it's hard to just like clinch a game and win it because like there's the RNG factor. Yeah, he doesn't push. It's he kind of naturally, even if you are like in a pushing situation, like the nature of the hero, right, is that you're X marking and then blinking and like killing people, right? But you can't do that if you're just pushing, right? Because you're already pushed. You're already put yourself forward, attacking the tower, the building, whatever. But I'm looking forward to trying it. But
if you're pushing, there's just being countered.
Yes, exactly. And like he doesn't jungle very efficiently at all.
Right. So, which is why you pair him with Timbersaw Sven.
Yeah. Yeah. So
but I will say, if you have more than one, like if your plan in any game is farming and you have more than one or two cores, like let's say you have a Tinker Morphling or something like that, you need to make sure that one of your heroes can farm Ancients. So, like, if you have Tinker Morphling, like, have a Tide that's going to do Ancients. But Tide can't even do them that quickly, so maybe that's a shit idea. But, if you have Timbersaw and Mirana on your team, your core has to be able to take Ancients.
Yeah.
If you have Sven, or if you have, like, Slark, and then a greedy offlane, like, I don't know. What's a greedy offlane?
Timber, Magnus.
Yeah, let's say you have Slark Timber. You're gonna need a mid. If your mid isn't going to be like Puck, you need a mid that can actually kill Ancients. So you need to that was like something that came out around like DAC. It was like, oh man, EG and Secret are so good. They always make sure like they don't miss a single spawn of Ancients. Like they stack the Ancients and then kill it, and then like every minute someone kills the Ancients. Normally RTZ. But it's like it's really important to absorb all of the resources available to your team. Like that's how you're efficient. You take as much out of the jungle you can every minute, take all the lane creeps available to you, and then moreover, like don't ignore the Ancients. That's a shit ton of gold. It's like 3 camps of gold every minute.
I know. So, I think we've all been in that situation where like, you're at pick screen and you pick a team comp and then you go into the game and your support, like he's like, oh, it's 50 seconds and I'm by Ancients. I'm going to stack it. And then we've all been in that situation where it's like, all right, we stacked Ancients, but our cores are like Lina mid and a safe lane.
Slark. Like anytime I play Slark and there's an Ancient stack and I have like, I don't know, Shadowblade and half an Echo Saber, I'm like, I can't do this. I'll die.
And then like the enemy team is a Gyro and a Sven, and it's like, okay, well, good job,
good job, team.
Anyway,
careful with the Ancients. They're great, but don't stack them if you can't do anything about it. That happens.
Yeah, and that even happens with like hard camps and stuff. Like sometimes you just don't have like heroes that can take a 4 stack of a hard camp. So like there's a big difference between a 1 stack. I remember on the Friday show you were getting testy about this.
Not testy. I just really wanted to get that hammered out.
Yeah, it's important. It's something I had never thought of before, but now I'm going to think about it all the time. But you don't want to have resources on the map that you just can't take. Right. Okay, so let's talk about
assault your own fields, right?
Exactly. Okay.
Over farming.
Yes, you don't want to be the Greeks. Okay, so let's get into like the specifics of our actual heroes, right? So, what is your Nakes build nowadays?
Definitely boots.
Okay, that's a good start.
Good boots. So it's not too different from the old one. Yeah, Phase Butu, as we say. So it's not too different from the old one. Last time we checked up on good old Nyx, but as is standard when people are learning and growing, one of the best ways to builds we hear. Okay. So like way old school Nyx, you would just go like armlet and then like S and Y and like AC, those kind of things. I think S and Y was even like a little more recent. I'm talking like TI3 Nyx, and before then, you would get like AC and armlet and drums and shit like that. But since the kind of more recent things, after that, people were going like Blink. Sometimes you were getting Orchid, like some real avant-garde fucking Nyx shit. And then he got popular again, and it was S and Y and Armlet were very popular, and then Echo Saber came out, and then people were like, okay, we'll do this like Echo Saber thing, and then we'll follow it up with like, I don't know, Desolator. But as we've matured as Lifestealer players, as we've gotten out of the bubble of just like playing what we're practiced on and revisiting things, a lot of people have been dropping Echo Saber when they can. The Echo Saber is beautiful, don't get me wrong, and the mana regen is very necessary. But if you do have a team that can support you enough, people have realized that just the Desolator on Nyx is so fucking extreme. Like, it just takes your damage to a whole new level. It's like the only way that you can make Feast, which is your percentage damage. When you hit someone, you take a percentage of their life and you gain it as lifesteal. And the only way to benefit that is one, attack speed. If it happens more often, it happens more often. But like getting plus damage doesn't affect it. Getting crit doesn't affect it. But minus armor does. So people have just been getting the Deso earlier before the Echo Saber if they can, or skip the Echo Saber entirely if they have enough mana to deal with that. So if you go like Raindrop is a great item to keep your mana up. Lifestealer is you have Rage, so you can micro around the Raindrop pretty nice. So you're not just like, oh, anytime someone throws a spell, I lose a charge of Raindrop. It like will only affect you when you really really need it on Lifestealer. So Raindrop's actually really good, even though he has built-in magic immunity. And you'll keep that mana regen for a way longer time than other heroes. And so you can have the Raindrop to take care of your mana for the most part, and then maybe top that off with a Wand just to help your mana pool a little bit. So if you have Wand Raindrop, you can maybe just skip the Echo Saber entirely and get that Deso out there really fast, and then go from there into Orchid is totally good. Blink is still good. My personal favorite, I think, still is if you just go Deso AC and then take that into Abyssal. That's solid, but definitely not ignoring the possibility to go for Orchids and Blinks.
That makes sense. I've actually seen some Bloodthorn.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's what you get the Orchid for, and then it turns into a Bloodthorn, and you're like, Jesus Christ, how do I deal with this Lifestealer?
Yeah, a Lifestealer is definitely one of the heroes where every time I play him, I feel like there's not enough slots and too many items that I want to have. It's like, all right, I want to have a Deso, I want to have an Echo Saber, I want to have a what's it called, the Abyssal Blade. It's just there's too many items and not enough. It's like the too many limes meme. It's like that, except like it's Lifestealer with like all the items. And
why can't I hold all of these builds?
Exactly. Okay, so now for Tinker.
Tinkertown.
I talked about it a little earlier. Nowadays, the build that Miracle popularized, that actually I don't know if Miracle did it first, but he's the one that made it a big deal. I think Dendi may have done it first.
Pretty approved term to use on these kinds of things.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't want to be wrong, and then somebody's gonna be like, actually, so and so did it first.
Let's be real. If Miracle does anything, it's him who popularized it.
That's true.
Otherwise, it was just like, oh, look at this, Bulba build. But if Miracle does it, oh my god,
yeah,
everyone do this now.
Yep. Yeah, that's like Aetherlens, Timbersaw, stuff like that he's just been like making exciting and people like it now. Anyway, okay, so the build nowadays is you go bottle, and then what I like to do is I'll go BOTs before Soul Ring if I can. Like, what I'll do is I'll keep Soul Ring on quick buy, and then try to go for my full 2,000 gold to have my BOTs. But obviously, if I'm gonna die, I'm like, okay, buy Soul Ring, done. And Raindrops are nice too. That's saved me many a time because it is quite good after all.
Yeah, Raindrop, good item, I hear.
Yeah, but yeah, and so once you have your BOTs, then you get your Soul Ring or vice versa. Then generally you go Blink, Aetherlens, Aghanim Scepter, and then after that it kind of varies depending on the player preference and the game. Like we talked about earlier, Bloodstone's incredibly good because Tinker is one of those heroes where he takes so much farm off the map that oftentimes you don't want to be in the position where it's like, okay, well, the enemy team killed our Tinker because he got caught out by a Tinker ward, or he's bad and he did something bad. And it's very often where, whether playing against a Tinker or with the Tinker, the game is decided because of one death. And if you have the Bloodstone, he's naturally going to be around a lot of kills because he can get to every fight. and B, he can if he dies, it's like, okay, well, he's gonna be back in 15 seconds, so whatever, like we'll live. And you don't have to spend the money on buyback, which is nice. So Bloodstone's really good. Scythe is nice, especially if you're a very good player and you can just like, keep people scythed for like an hour. Generally, I still like Dagon builds. I haven't been going E-Blade because of like E-Blade's nice, but it's not slot efficient if you're gonna have Aghanims too. Yeah, that's an issue I find. And you need to like, it's always a balance.
Until you actually have the sheep stick, you actually don't have an incredible amount of int on the especially if you're going Bloodstone. Like all that mana pool that you gain, none of it is from int.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the big things is one of the things that I didn't realize about the Aetherlands build until I actually played it was it solves, or it doesn't solve, but it assuages so many of your mana problems with having the Aetherlands int, because like you were saying,
Aetherlands mana pool, because it's not int, which similarly E-Blade doesn't affect, the Aetherlands mana doesn't affect your E-Blade.
Yeah, but so it's nice having that extra little bit of mana, especially if you're coming to a fight. That's like another full round
of spells,
ult, right? Well, not necessarily a full round of spells, but it's at least an ult, and then that means you can reuse your Soul Ring, which effectively makes it like...
How much mana is it? Oh yeah, no, I was like 900 mana. That's a round of spells. No, it's not 900 mana. It's 900 gold, and it's 250 mana. That's different.
Yeah. Yeah, so that I really like that build, and it is kind of malleable. We'll see what I end up doing in the game. Shiva's is also quite nice because A, obviously, the stats are good and all that. B, it lets you farm camp super fast, and C, the vision is quite a big deal.
Oh yeah, especially when you're trying to rocket people.
Yeah, and that's like I forget if we talked about this on a show, but we're flaming people that go Shiva's Garden Alchemist. But a lot of people...
Every show I've ever done.
I was listening to a cast, and they were talking about how one of the big reasons for it is so that you can't get kited and not get your stun off.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
I mean, I'm just saying that's the reason. But regardless,
it's one of the many awful reasons that people go Shiva's an Alchemist and lose every fucking game.
But yeah, so Shiva's is nice. You got a lot of options basically. I still am, Dagon's pretty darn good, especially when you have an Aether Lens. I'll say that. That's what I'm about. Okay, so
Dagon is just the most fun item in the game, honestly. Like the sound that it makes when you click someone, and it's so good late game. Like magic damage, man, people fucking underestimate how good magic damage is late game.
Oh yeah, and like BKBs are falling off by the late game. It's like, okay, well, you're gonna be fine for 5 seconds, but you sure aren't fine the next 5.
Yeah. And then, you have an incredible amount of armor because armor has scaled, and my 900 damage auto attack goes down to like 30 damage, but my Dagon is still only taking 25% damage reduction like the whole game through, unless you build a pipe, which you should against a Tinker, but still.
And Dagon 1 is actually like a really efficient source of damage. It's only like 2750 or something like that, 2700 gold. 2720. So it's like a very feasible thing to be playing a late game support and just be like, man, I have bought all my things, I may as well just get a Dagon. But so Dagon 1 is pretty good. It's only like becomes wasteful if you're not playing Tinker, of course, if you like super overinvest, because spending 1250 for the recipe over and over again really racks up the price.
Pretty quickly, and you only gain 100 damage for it. The cooldown is a huge deal, but Tinker doesn't give half a fuck about the cooldown.
Yeah. Okay.
The cooldown goes into 15 seconds. Like, that's pretty intense.
Yeah. Okay, so just to wrap this up before we hop into our game, the big thing with the synergy is primarily the balancing of how we farm and our power peaks and how good we are. The other thing that I would point out is that we could do some interesting Nakes bombs where I would blink forward and you'd hop out of me. That's like one of those things that we'll probably do once, if at all. But, potentially it's pretty cool. Nakes has classic combos like Nakes Spirit Breaker, Nakes Storm Spirit. Actually, in retrospect, maybe we should have done Storm Spirit Nakes. But you have those nice little combos.
Like, that doesn't talk about the farm balance very well. But I mean, I also like the way that we team fight is also really good. Like, I'm going to be up there in their faces, and like they're going to want to use disables on me right after I force them to try to want BKB piercing disables or to disable me and that sort of thing, but I'm still tanky, and like through that you can come in right after the fact, or I can infest something and you can like travel to it and then I can pop out of it and then fucking I don't know, it's like a lot of shit that we can do. But like the way that we farm is perfect. We farm different ways, we team fight, very complementary. And then like I can fight early game to when you're trying to farm travels, but then we're both viable late game and we're both viable mid game. So I like it a lot.
Yeah. Okay. So let's hop into the game. Of course, you can watch the game on youtube.com/.ptv1, numerical 1, and it should be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay.
I say that now. Maybe I won't be saying that in an hour.
I don't have a lot of confidence in your Tinker, to be truthful with you.
We'll see.
Never seen
All right, hello everyone. We're back. We have completed our game, and Proud and this was a game. That's about all I can say about it. Normally, you aim to like. Actually, I shouldn't say this. I did learn something this game, but it was a very weird game. There was a rapier. There was our 3 teammates that absolutely, completely refused to deal with us or to, not do anything but flame in Spanish. But we ended up winning, so that's that.
Yeah.
I'm going to read off the teams first as I pull them up. Our team had a mid Tinker, not surprisingly, safe lane Lifestealer. We had a jungle Enigma and a safe lane support Shadow Shaman, and our off lane was a Ursa. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Shadow Shaman was like toggling between top and bottom, right?
Yeah, he was bot for a little bit, and then he would like leave and let me get totally reamed by that Reaver, and then he would he'd come back just enough for me to be like, oh, okay, I don't need to buy items specifically for this to be a 1v1 matchup, and then he would leave and I'd be like, oh, okay, I needed to buy items because this is specifically a 1v1 matchup.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And then the enemy team, they had a safe lane Slark Sand King. They had a roaming Earth Spirit. They had also Sand King roamed quite a bit too. They had a mid Juggernaut and they had a off lane Weaver, as you said. And boy, the thing that I would say that I learned from this game, which is obvious in retrospect, but I hadn't really thought through before, playing Juggernaut versus Tinker is like the easiest matchup for Juggernaut. I feel it was miserable. Honestly, I felt pretty helpless. Like I could farm and like I maneuvered my way out of dying a couple times. Like I got him killed once, but like it was just awful. Like honestly, I had like, it's rare that you feel that countered, but like I felt super hard countered because like I just could not do anything whatsoever. So that's what I learned is, hey, if they pick Tinker, just play mid Juggernaut and like the game is easy. And they rotated on me, which was not fun. Although I did dodge a gank at like minute 0, which was pretty sick. And I was pretty proud of that, not going to lie. But so,
okay.
I know like reflecting back on the game, our team had some core issues when we talk about the balancing of farm, right? So
yeah, that was very clear.
Yeah, Proud, you have Echo.
Ursa and Clinks basically are more or less the same heroes when it comes to farm. Ursa has one AoE spell, but it's not like Ursa presses Q and then the lane is cleared. I'd say like in terms of like lane clearing, it's fairly similar to Lifestealer, like using his infest to clear. Like he's not an AoE farmer just because of Earth Shock. Same shit. And basically, anytime like me and Ursa just found ourselves tripping over each other's shit all day. That's like every time. And then we had an Enigma too. So like the idea was like you were farming all these lanes, but then still also like dying because they had a pretty decent team against Tinker, and we weren't supporting you at all because our teammates weren't very supportive. Yeah, so you would just like farm really deep, absorb farm, and then die. And then me, Tinker, or me, Enigma, and Ursa would all be trying to farm the same thing. And it was just like the worst situation that I've ever seen. And like literally anytime I went to farm fucking anywhere, the Ursa would be right there last hitting it with me. And we'd be like, do you take it? Do I take it? And then the Enigma would come up and ping both of us and be like, that was mine. Yeah. It was just, it was awful.
So this game is actually a perfect example of poor balancing of farm, if we could say anything about it, right? And thinking about Tinker specifically, Tinker, if you're having a not good lane, like if you're getting ganked a lot and stuff, all you do is you just stack the jungle. If you're on Radiant or Dire, you can stack 2 camps at once. It's much easier on Dire, but you can stack 2 camps at once with March, and then you have like 3 or 4 stacks, and then you just take them once you have level 3 or 4 March, and that brings you up, right? Like, you can have a bad lane and only have like, let's see, what was my farm at 10 minutes? At 10 minutes, I had 37 last hits, which is like not good whatsoever. It's awful. But if I had jungle camps, which I would normally have, but we had a jungler. If I had jungle camps, then you take a couple stacks and suddenly you're up at like 60 and you're competitive again. So that was really rough because Tinker's fallback just was non-existent in this game because of our jungler, which is a common thing when you talk about balancing a farm. Junglers tend to upset that balance unless you're running very specific, non-greedy other lanes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I really felt it. Honestly, it was miserable. The other big thing for me was I was doing my build with the Aether Lens, and also we should talk about skill builds. We didn't talk about that before. I need to make special note. I couldn't buy my Aether Lens not because I didn't have the money. Once I had the money, I just couldn't get to any side shops without like threat of dying. And so I had I think I had 1,800 gold before I could actually get the courier to a side shop to buy my mana booster. Like, it was just horrendous, honestly.
In those situations, literally send the courier to like the Dire safe lane side shop, just like up the edge of the map.
Yeah, I would like that actually would have made a lot of sense.
Dude, I do that so much.
It's like those feelings when it's like, I know, like you lull yourself into thinking that like, oh well, we're gonna get map control back. Oh, I'll get there sometime soon, and it's like I'm not gonna go through all that extra effort because I'll just get to the side shop in a minute, and then like 4 minutes go by, and it's like, okay, well, I guess I'm not gonna get to the side shop, and then you finally have to do something about it. It was like that. So let's actually talk about skill builds real quick. Especially Tinker skill builds have. I found the one that I like. I used to do a very different build, and I know some people do other builds also, so there's some personality in builds. The build that I've grown to like recently is you go laser level 1, of course. It's less effective against Jug, of course, because he has spin to CS, but in general, you can just make somebody miss, and they'll miss like 3 last hits. You get free denies, 3 last hits. It's dope. But so you do laser, rocket, laser. And so at level 4, you have 2 in each nuke, because early game, you're not going to have the mana pool. Also, you're probably not going to have the bottle for the first few waves. And March sucks at low levels, effectively. So the idea is that you have 2 in rocket, 2 in laser, and then you max March, and you get ult, of course. And the way that works out is generally it times out so that you're going to have max March when your BOTs are coming online. And you'll have level 3 March by the time you have decent stacks in the jungle if you're doing that, if you're able to do that. So I really like that build. I used to do the like 1-1-4 at 7. And then I know some people do the like just max rocket, max laser, and they just man mode and just fight people. I personally hate that build because if you're like behind, you're just screwed. It's like, all right, I can't farm, but I'm a tinker, so we lost. And you skip ult, but you don't skip ult. I get ult at 6, but then after that, I get ult. I only level my ult to the second level at the time when I get Aether Lens, because then your mana pool is large enough to support it. It's a very common mistake to just like level your ult at 11 and 16 on Tinker and then feel like, oh god, I need to be back to base constantly. But level 1 ult is sufficient for farming. Especially once you have Blink Dagger and you can safely, spend the 2 seconds or whatever, 2.5 seconds in the woods. So that's the skill build for Tinker, in my opinion. Again, like there are varying skill builds for sure, but that's what's worked for me historically.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. The like immediately maxing your March makes a lot more sense when like farming Ancients was a thing, because it was like no matter what, you knew you were going to be farming a stack immediately on Tinker. But if you're not immediately making use of even like leveling March the machines up, it does more damage, but it also like costs more mana in turn. And when you're doing March, are you really limited by how much damage one instance of March does, so much as how many Marches you can like put out?
Yeah.
So like leveling it up isn't too big of a deal outside of like how quickly you can get it done. So like if you're killing ancients, of course, or if you were killing ancients in the past, of course you would want max march to like do it very quickly so you don't get disrupted. But if you're just like killing a wave, like throwing 2 marches isn't that much, like 2 marches at 150 mana isn't like that much worse than, 1 march at 190 damage. And 2 marches at 150 would do more damage anyways, but like if you're like, there's not a pressing need to max march, so I think you're good with getting 2 points in Q and W.
Yeah, I mean, if you really have to jungle, like if your lane is actually unplayable, or if you have no kill potential whatsoever with your nukes, then you can still max march. But I find that this build is kind of like a best of both worlds type of build, and I'm a big fan of builds that have like that their timings and synergize with one another. So like on Invoker, for instance, the skill build that I usually do, I end up having level 3 Invoke, or sometimes even level 4 Invoke, at the timing that my Aghanims is coming out. So it synergizes well. And it's similarly with this build where it's like, all right, I have just maxed March and I have my BOTs, or I just recently got my BOTs and I have level 3 March or whatever. So yeah, I was pretty happy with that. Let's see. Anything else about this game? I know you ended up doing a like minus armor build and a plus armor build for you.
I skipped the Echo Saber. I ended up buying 2 wearing drops over the course of the game, and I just went Vanguard, or not Vanguard. What is that called? Armlet. There we go. I got the Armlet, and then I got a wand and a rain drop. Well, I went phase first, obviously. So it was like phase, or start with the stout shield, obviously. And then Quelling Blade, phase, wand, armlet, some combination of wand and armlet. And I got I think I got the Helm of Iron Will, and then the stick, and the armlet, and then the wand finished up. And then I bought a raindrop, and I finished it out with the Deso after that. And I was doing a bunch of damage. I was kind of behind, so like the Echo Saber would have been really good, honestly. But I just wasn't really in a position where I could go back for the Deso. Like didn't have enough time before I needed the Deso to be super relevant. And then my attack speed was pretty lacking because you don't have an Echo Saber to deal with it. So I just immediately rushed for the AC to deal with. We were against a Weaver, who obviously is going to be chipping our armor down to his physical. A Slark is a lot of magic damage and a lot of damage from the stat steal, but also still good amount of physical. And then we had the Juggernaut, who is Omni Slashing. So of course the AC made a lot of sense for giving the whole team a bunch of armor. So that's just what I ended up going. And then I followed that off with a Vanguard, or not a Vanguard, a Abyssal Blade, because Lockdown looked pretty attractive against both Slark and Weaver. So that's just kind of where I ended up situated. I was kind of in a 1v1 lane, so I got Feast first, just so it would be, I'd be able to trade hits with a Weaver. And then after that, I just got 2 points in my open wounds, because getting the magic immunity doesn't matter too much against a Weaver. It's mostly the physical damage you're worried about.
Yeah.
And then after that, they had it was about the time when it was when the Earth Spirit or the Sand King was going to start ganking, and I've seen a lot of people putting a bunch of points in Rage. So I just maxed Rage out with 2 points in my open wounds, and then after that I finished out the open wounds, and it was pretty decent.
Yeah, it makes sense. I thought it worked out well. I liked having the Shadow Shaman against the Weaver for sure. That felt good. That was great. He can't trade and deal with him in lane, but as the game progresses, as far as killing Weaver goes, he's super good. And it was nice to have Enigma against their team, which has 4 melee and a Weaver. And so he had some good black holes on the occasion that he decided to use it. But it went well. Our team, our problems were personality based, not hero based. And Ursa got off to a really good start, and he
was a 1v1 against a Slark. It's a pretty good situation.
Yeah, exactly. And they were just also I think he started Iron Talon, so it was he was the jungle. I mean, rather he was the offlane, but he could just go jungle if they actually laned against him. But instead, they tried their level 1 rotation on me. It failed. They got nothing. And then they went back to lane, and 3 waves had already happened. So Ursa was already level 3, and he could contest them and fight them. And they had melee supports, and melee supports are not going to zone an Ursa, right? So it was pretty sweet.
Pretty easy game for the Ursa.
That's for sure. And he got a free rapier. Weaver built a rapier.
Really what definitely turned the game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I wouldn't say it turned the game, but that's when it was decidedly in our favor.
Yes.
I think we could totally have won without the rapier. it just so happened that, you know, they decided to drop a rapier, and it's pretty darn nice when, you know, you just get free 250 damage. So that's that. Any more comments, Proud, as you eat your food?
No.
No, that's it. Okay, I'm similar. The game was so bizarre. I'm honestly like, it was. I'm just a little flabbergasted, I guess would be the word. It was just a weird game, and I'm glad my winning streak has continued. I think I'm on like what 9 or 10 now, so that's good.
You know, I really thought I have my push to talk on. I don't know why this is working out like this.
Well, I mean, I don't know, friend. I just know I heard you consuming food.
No, you're right. My push to talk thing is here though. What's going on?
Oh, well, you're quiet now, so whatever. We can deal with these random push talk issues after we finish recording the show.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean that's how I feel about the game. Basically, I hate playing Tinker against Juggernaut. I learned that, and it was also not fun to play Tinker against Earth Spirit and Weaver, who could, like, you know, when somebody's blinking
throwing bugs into trees. I hadn't thought about that before. That's
yeah,
good.
And like if Earth Spirit, he got it a few times, but not every time. But he could kind of guesstimate where I'd be and just kick a stone at me. So it was not the best, that's for sure. But yeah, so that's the game. I'm gonna hop into the plugs now, and then we'll close the show. So you can watch the videos that we recorded on youtube.com/.ptv1 to numerical 1. We will put up both our POVs this week. We have a Twitch channel, twitch.tv/.ptv. I stream there, Proud streams there, Roland streams there, Cyphus streams there sometimes even. It's a good time. It's always fun. We have a website, defenseofthepatients.com. On there is an Amazon banner. If you're in the US and you click that, it sends us a little cut and it helps us out a lot, and it doesn't cost you anything extra. So it's basically just free money for people that you like. Twitter, I'm at Ursinity, Proud is at Proud Dota. Our show is at .p_show. On Patreon, you can support us, patreon.com/defenseofthepatients. On there, you can also get replay reviews, commissioned episodes, and the patron-only podcast feed, which is nice. If you like, if 5 shows were not enough a week, feel free to take more. We can also, if you'd also like to support us, you can give us an iTunes review. We appreciate those very much. And any, advice, etc., criticism, questions, etc., you can hit us up at defenseofthepatients@gmail.com or reddit.com/r/defenseofthepatients. Yet another way to contact us. So that's it for me. And remember, this has been our theory, but
and it's been your butt.
Yep, that.
Your butt. It's your ass on the line, McGee. Better crack that case.